Is everyone on the same page when it comes to peace?
The more noisy your mind is, the more stressful your mind is, and more anxiety and depression and all kind of issues we feel. And the only way to deal with it is to come to your inner self.
How do we find peace, especially during failures? We can see people have failures in their relationship, love, even in jobs, in business, and so on.
So we have made peace as a pursuit, which is then dependent on certain outcomes. Now those outcomes are not in your control. So it's a recipe for disaster, if you see what I'm saying.
In your case, you left your corporate world in order to seek for peace. How about normal people? Do they need to detach themselves from the materialistic world in order to find peace, or they can do all these things and still find peace?
Everybody does not need to leave their job or city life or anything and go to the Himalayas to attain the peace. In my case, I had to do that for a certain reason. I think it can be done parallelly. You don't have to leave what you're doing to seek for peace.
Hi everyone, happy to see you all in Leaders Talk program. Today we have Sri Anish, who is the ex-senior corporate executive who has left the corporate world and moved to Himalaya to seek for peace. Now he resides in Himalayan state of Dharmasala. Let's meet him. Happy to meet you, Sri Anish.
Thank you for having me on this show.
Yeah, it's our pleasure too.
Thank you.
Sri Anish, if you see now, everyone seems to be obsessed with the word of peace. Even a 10-year-old kid is telling his parents that I have no peace at home. And needless to say about the elders. See, what is peace all about? And is everyone on the same page when it comes to peace?
I think everybody's definition of peace is different. But at the same time, every living being on earth desire for peace. Not just humans, but if you look at any living form, even a dog on the street, your cat, every sentient creature wants peace. Because I think peace is our inner nature. When the child is in the womb of the mother, it's a very peaceful state. But the moment child comes out, there's a whole world of noise all around. And it's just not the audio noise. It's a noise of thoughts, it's a noise of pressures, it's a noise of do's and don'ts, it's a noise of narrative. There are all kinds of noise. And I'm putting pressures, mental pressures also as noise. The moment the child is out, if you see what happens in the modern age, parents want to teach the child to say this poem or say that poem. That's a noise to the child. And every noise takes the peace away. And as I said, peace is our inner nature. We all desire peace. And what has happened in the current times, I think the noise levels have gone up. The distractions have gone up. The more distracted you are, the more noisy your mind is. The more noisy your mind is, the more stressful your mind is, and more anxiety and depression and all kind of issues we feel. And the only way to deal with it is to come to your inner self, which is your inner nature of peace. I think that's why everybody desires peace, even peace from the noise.
But how do we find peace, especially during failures? We can see people have failures in their relationship, love, even in jobs, in business, and so on. So we constantly having a lot of failures or setbacks in life. And how do we find peace during at that point of time?
I think we need to change the understanding. We think peace is an outcome. I will do something and I will experience peace. I will have a great relationship and I will experience peace once I have a great relationship. I will have a great job, great salary, great business, and then I will have a peace. So we have made peace as a pursuit, which is then dependent on certain outcomes. Now those outcomes are not in your control. So it's a recipe for disaster, if you see what I'm saying. My position is, my experience is, peace is your inner nature. You have to start from peace, which means peace is not a pursuit. It's your state of being. It's your state of mind. So Can I be in a relationship where I know peace is my inner nature? Peace is something that is in my control and not controlled by the external person or situations. It's easier said than done, because you have to do some practices, you have to develop some understanding to make sure that peace is in your control and you don't give the switch off this peace to your partner, to your boss, to your situation, to your political leaders. No. The switch of this peace is always with you. Yeah. We call it the spiritual process. For an example, if somebody meditates, let's say, half an hour every day, for sure you will start to see that this person's resilience or agility in all kinds of situations will be much more than a normal person. Normal person who's not meditating, it'll be very easy for him or her to break down, to take on additional stress. But somebody who's doing a certain spiritual or meditative practice, this person will have a lot of agility. It'll be very difficult for people or situations around to disturb his peace. It's a practice, it comes to you provided you really want to understand this process.
Is the meditation is the only process?
Um, Living a leading a content life and building meditative practice is a great process. I won't say an only process, a great process. But if I have to change my answer, I would say actually the only process.
Okay.
Because I've gone through various processes. I've been a serial entrepreneur. I've set up companies. One of the company I set up in about 2005 in India is an IT company which has grown huge. There are about 2,000 people working now. But I resigned, not resigned, I renounced the entire equity and stakeholding of that company and moved to Himalayas to understand the peace. Because when I was too successful, I was feeling that I'm very successful, but I'm not peaceful. I had great relationship, but I think still I did not find the peace. It would come and go. It was not becoming a constant flow. And for that, I kind of started meditating. And then now I can say that probably it's the only process. Yeah. If you want to have a stabilized inner state of peace, if you want life to be just like this, sometime peace, sometime drop, sometime peace, sometime drop, then there are a lot of ways. Then pursue anything that you like in life. But if you want stability, I would say meditation is the only process, or spiritual way of life is the only process.
So, as a spiritual leader and someone who has already found peace, can I put a question that are you really in peace all the time? Are you free of fear, anxiety, or stress, or depression?
I use stress sometimes at will. When I know for a certain task I need certain intensity, I need to build certain pressure, that's the time I will just pick up some stress to, let's say, deliver a job. Yeah. But most of the time, my position is quite peaceful. It will be very difficult for an external person or a situation to disturb my peace. Yeah. In last about 12, 13 years of deep practice, I think it's quite stabilized. But can I kind of give a guarantee that it is 100% stabilized? Maybe I'm 99% there. It is very difficult for me to say I am perfect. How can you say that? Because perfection has no limit, no? Yeah. You keep evolving. You keep evolving. But more or less, I'm quite stabilized in this state.
For normal person, is peace is something sustainable all the time?
I think that's where the catch is. Let's bring a little bit of science. Yeah. There's something called vagus nerve in the human system, and this nerve is very important to maintain the entire biology of the system in a certain order. With this nerve, there's a sympathetic and parasympathetic systems which work in the body. Now, what is happening in the current world right now? Your partner speaks at high pitch, and there's a lot of stress in your system. Your boss speaks something against you, there's a lot of stress in the system. And the stress at one level is good because it's a fight and flight response. But now we are 80-90% of our day, we are living in this zone. That's causing a lot of disease in the body. That's causing a lot of disease in the mind also. That's the reason across the globe I'm seeing a rise in physical health issues and also mental health issues. And then to experience peace, we have to go to the pub and, have a drink on a Saturday night or a Friday night or whatever night. It can be stabilized. Most of the people experience it as an event, but largely they are experiencing continuous stress in the system, which is causing a lot of disease in the system. But I'm saying that peace can be stabilized. It can be a regular full time experience for you. It is very much possible to do it. It's needed also, not just for your physical and mental well being. If you operate your life from this peaceful state, your impact in your job, your impact in your relationships, your impact in your family enhances multifold. So I think this is becoming more of a need rather than do I want peace or should I avoid it? I think it's really becoming an extremely important, significant process in everybody's life to attain this peace. There's a lot of work happening around the world, by the way, on this.
In your case, you left your corporate world in order to seek for peace. How about normal people? Do they need to detach themselves from the materialistic world in order to find peace, or they can do all these things and still find peace?
So everybody does not need to leave their job or city life or anything and go to the Himalayas to attain the peace. In my case, I had to do that for a certain reason. But having seen that, the life of the Himalayas, having seen the life of the cities and entrepreneurship, I think it can be done parallelly. You don't have to leave what you're doing to seek for peace. Yeah. You can just build your life in such a way. You can just build your daily flow of life in such a way that peace starts to become ingrained into it. So, to answer your question, yes, it is very much possible to attain this peace with the job that you do, with the business that you do, with the family that you run, with the country that you run, and all of that. You can have peace along with it. You don't have to leave anything. And that's
But
a good news.
but you said meditation is the only process. So at the moment, we can say that a lot of people have problem of finding time and all this. Without doing meditation, is there any other way of finding peace?
Two things here. First thing is people don't have time. I don't agree with that.
Okay.
If you see, people always have time for things that they want to do, for the things that they love, for the things that they know will bring good results to them. People always find time to do those things. It's just that we've still not realized the potential benefit or the potential impact of meditativeness. So that's point number one. Point number two is it possible to have peace without having any regular practice? I think very difficult. The other way is, which is almost impossible, having a very content way of life. Now, that's almost impossible in today's world when there's so much social media all around. Maybe this talk is going to be on social
Yeah.
media. But when there's so much distractions all around, people are not content. There's a constant FOMO, fear of missing out. If your friend is doing that, you also want to do that. Yeah. Unless you find this contentment, you cannot attain peace. Now, how do you find this contentment is the question. And I think to find this contentment, which will then bring you to peace, meditativeness is the only process. How else will you do that? And what is meditation? I think our next
Yeah.
discussion should be what is
Yeah.
meditation
Yeah.
then? To simply put, Tyaga, meditation is spending time with your own self. Today, what happens? We are always outward moving. A call comes, you're talking to your business partner. A call comes, you're talking to your life partner. A calls come, you're talking to your stakeholders, etc. In the entire 24 hours, do you ever spend any time in a pause with your own self when you say, let me sit, close my life, close my eyes, and talk to myself? See what's going on within me. Huh? Reflect back on what do I want in life? Reflect back on the events of the day. Are we doing that? No. That really is meditativeness. When you start to spend some time every day with your own self alone, that's the building or the start of meditativeness. And as you will start to do that more and more, you'll find more and more peace. Because you'll find more and more clarity about who you are. You'll find more and more clarity about what do you want from this life. You'll find more and more clarity about what kind of life you lead in the future, what are your aspirations. And this clarity will give you a certain peacefulness. But we are not taking the pause these days. We're running too fast. We are running too fast to achieve things too quickly.
Yeah, we are being alone, but the thing is, we are still engaged with social media.
We are alone with a lot of engagements.
Yeah.
No, this aloneness is without any engagements. It's like if I ask our audience, do you ever spend time with your cup of tea or with your cup of coffee all by yourself with no engagement all around? Just enjoying this cup of tea. Because if you start to do that, enjoy 10 minutes this cup of tea, it'll open so many dimensions of understanding within you. Because there's a certain silence which we all have, and that silence has a lot of answers. What we are doing in the world, we are trying to find answers and peace outside. But the answers and peace are all there inside. Look at some of the life stories of great scientists. They were struggling to solve a problem. They could not solve that. Then they just left it, went to sleep. And 4 o'clock in the morning, they just woke up and the solution came because they had left all the stress and anxiety to solving the problem aside. They just, in their utter relaxation, they just went to sleep saying that if it comes. In that peacefulness, answer comes. That's the magic. It's quite magical actually.
Science says that anger, the depression, or the anxiety that we have, it's all the results of hormones. The spiritual thing also says that.
Hormones are the biological response or biological activation of stress. Yeah. So, in your body, if I have to create stress, a certain hormones need to be released. But what is working behind the hormone is the question. Behind the hormone is your thought. So, for example, in this particular moment, if somehow we create very peaceful thoughts, suddenly your body will start to release a lot of serotonin, happy hormone. Yeah. So, hormone is the biological process, but your state of mind is the process behind the hormones which actually activates the hormone. And then your body experiences peace or happiness or whatever. Yeah. So thought is behind the hormones.
So the thoughts
Thoughts
can
are
control that hormones.
Exactly. So what happens when we do meditation or any spiritual practice? We try to work with our mind. We try to become owner of the mind. We try to become the masters of the mind so that my thoughts are in my control. See, today the problem with the world is, or most of the people, their thoughts are not in their control. So for example, if I ask our audience right now that for next 10 seconds, don't think about the blue monkey. Close your eyes for next 10 minutes, 10 seconds, don't think about the blue monkey. Now I can guarantee you, after 10 seconds, when they open their eyes, everybody would be thinking about the blue monkey. Just because our thoughts are not in our control. When you do any spiritual practice, you try to bring these thoughts in your control so that you can guide the body to release the hormones that you want to be released.
So you're saying that a person who can control your mind
Correct.
can be at peace.
Absolutely.
Does that mean that even a criminal, if he can control his mind, can have peace? A good person who cannot control his mind cannot have peace.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It all is the matter of the mind. In fact, uh, next month onwards, we are going to run a program with prisoners in Delhi. There's a large prison in India called Tihar Jail, which is in Delhi. We're going to run a meditative experiment with these prisoners to prove that no matter what you've done in life, No matter if the society has termed you as bad people, if you start to practice certain meditations, you will start to experience peacefulness. And then that peacefulness will bring better thoughts in you, will bring better thoughts in you. We're going to run that scientific experiment soon.
Will peace determine your destiny?
To a large extent, yes. To a large extent, yes. I'll give you an example. Let's say this person A who's established in peace, and this person A is going on a highway, and a road rage case happens. This person A will be very peaceful, no road rage will happen. Person B, who's not peaceful, who's very stressful, anxious, and aggressive, and a road rage case happens. This person will actually do something ultra bad that he or she could be behind bars. So their destinies in both, it's the same situations, but their destinies are going to be very different.
Okay, Sri Anish, there are a lot of Gurujis or spiritual leaders out there. How are you different from them?
Again, two things on this. One is there a need to be different? Why should one be different? Because if I want to be different, then I'm putting stress in my mind. Oh, what should I do to be different?
And you lose your peace.
And you lose your peace. So, first question is why there is a need to be different? There's need to be good. There need to be calm. There's need to be peaceful. There's need to be happy. And there's need to be thinking about world peace and betterment of humanity. That's the need. If every spiritual teacher, master, guru starts to think about that and establish in that, then there's no, we're not in competition. You see, I left the entire corporate world to come out of the competition. No, now you're saying, why? How are you different? Why aren't you competing? So, on a lighter side, on a lighter side. No, there's no competition. I think all the need to be different has gone away. Number one. Number two, yet I'm different. In the same breath, I would say, because I'm guided to speak the truth and truth alone and not project anything that I'm not. A lot of spiritual people do that, a lot of spiritual people don't do that. If you want to take that as a differentiator, I don't know. But there's no need to be different. There's just no need to be different.
So at the moment, the world is not at peace.
Right.
So what do you think the leaders should have in order to create a peaceful world?
You can only create that which you have. You can only give that to the world what you have. If you don't have $2,000, you cannot give $10 to somebody. Yeah, you need to have those dollars first. For the world leaders to create a peaceful world, which is a need right now, the world leaders, first of all, themselves need to realize, understand the value of peace, and imbibe peace individually. If they don't imbibe it, they can't create policies which will create world peace. It comes from the individual alone. I can't create a great policy for the world peace if I'm not at peace within myself. So I think that's the first thing. And I think that's the work which is needed. If somebody helps me, I would like to bring all the world leaders in one meditation class or room and give them a certain process of meditation so that slowly they start to experience this deep, happy peace within themselves. And then only they should go to the parliament and create policies, not before that. It should be mandatory actually for every politician to practice meditation.
But meditation is somehow perceived as related to Hinduism. Okay. But the world leaders are not all of them are Hindus.
So, two things again here. One, meditation does not belong to Hindu religion. However, it's a fact that India has been the longest living civilization on earth, and India became the seat of spiritual wisdom from last 10,000, 15,000 years. And India contributed a lot of meditative practices and meditative techniques to the whole globe, to the whole world. But having said that, it does not just belong to Hindus or India. It belongs to the entire humanity. So that's point number one. Point number two, earlier in the discussion, I did say that what is meditation? It's a process of spending some quality time with your own self so that you know who you are. You know what you want. You know what is right and what is not right for you and for the larger ecosystem. Now, if you look at that as a process of meditation, do you think it belongs to any particular religion? Spending time with yourself, does it belong to any religion or any caste, any creed? No, it belongs to the whole humanity. But yes, India did a lot of work on this and shared a lot of techniques with the world. So that's how I would respond to this question. Hence, for the world leaders or any religion in the world, I don't think it should be a showstopper, so to say, that this technique is coming from the land of India. It should not be.
Okay, thank you, Sri Anish, for giving us the clarity on peace, and wish you all the best.
Thank you, Tyaga. May the world be full of peace.
Yeah, sure.
May our lives be full of peace. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.